It is 5:30, and I would like to determine if we have a quorum, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, we do. All members are present.
Thank you very much. Then I believe we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you all for coming, and brings us to item 2, the approval of the agenda. As chair, I'm going to ask for 2 changes in the agenda. The first being the addition of item 3B under recognitions, awards, and presentations. We'd like to hear from Mr. Enbrick and the report on our robotics team that was participating in the state meet here over the last week or so. Right? Yes, the other item is significantly more complex, but I'm going to propose, I'd like to make a motion to propose that we remove item 10E from the agenda. Item 10E is the Faribault Middle School 8th grade pre-academy proposal and the FHS 9th grade academy proposal. After discussions with a number of people, there seems to be at best some mixed feelings about approving this program at this time. We have only recently been exposed to the idea. It is post our budgetary process and would require us to enter into a deficit spending situation. And there may be other considerations, possible options that could address this situation, but if we were to adopt this program at this time, it might preclude some of those. So as the board chair, I'd like to express my appreciation for all those staff and administration members who have devoted considerable amount of time to developing this proposal and recognizing that it is a reinstatement of a program that we had a number of years ago, in a sense, of the school within a school program. But given the budgetary impact and given the fact that we may not have received as a board sufficient information to make a quality decision about how to address something that is certainly a serious situation in our schools. The number of failures in 8th and or not, well, any grade for that matter, but particularly 8th and 9th grade being that transition from middle school into the high school situation. So my motion is this, that we remove item 10E from the agenda for this evening, and that we direct Mr. Sesker and all of his administrative team and teaching staff to continue to work on this issue and come to us next year in a timely way, as that we might consider this proposal or any other proposal and incorporate that into our budget process and thus avoid a deficit spending situation.
I second that.
Okay. Do we have any discussion?
I will just state for the record that I'm against taking it off. I think the only kids that are, or the only people that are going to suffer by this are the students in 8th and 9th grade that are failing, that have been failing. I sure hope something changes. I'm not sure what it is. I think we all know the definition of insanity. I won't reiterate it. quite honestly, I'm kind of shocked that this is how we're starting our meeting. I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Chair, I concur with what Chad has indicated. However, I would just add that I think part of that also is the responsibility of the administration, both at the district level and the building level, to investigate this thoroughly to find out what the issues really are and what needs to be done. And I think in order for us to come up with a comprehensive plan to address that as a board and as a district, I think there has to be some drilling in to find out what it is that is really the problem with the number of students that we have failing. So I would hope that by delaying this does not in any way reflect that the administration still has a responsibility to find out what the dickens is going on and find out what kind of solution can come up with this, whether that be a temporary one or whatever. But I agree, Chad, we can't let kids fail. And as a board, we have an ethical responsibility to deal with it as well as the administration. So I would encourage the administration to continue to look at what are some of the possible solutions in the interim. That this is not just set aside and we continue to let kids have problems in school.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I can honestly say that at this moment, I've been thinking about this issue all day long. I'm not sure how I want to vote, but I think the most important thing to me at this moment, because we're not at that item on the agenda at this moment. We are deciding on the agenda. And while I am not sure at this moment how I want to act on that item on the agenda, I believe it warrants discussion. So I just want to speak for myself in terms of I won't be supporting the motion to remove that for the agenda because I want to make sure we discuss it tonight. I am not certain whether or not I want to go forward with the proposal or not. I'm still trying to decide that. Quite honestly, and it's probably the only time in 8 years on the board that I've arrived at a meeting feeling so uncertain. But it is because of that I want to make sure we have the discussion. So my statement is really at this moment just about I would like to keep that on the agenda. So I will be voting against the motion as presented.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Chair, I would agree with Jason. I obviously have been thinking about this quite a bit, and I've tried to gather some information leading up to the meeting, and I was prepared to have a discussion and a vote, and if it doesn't go forward, then I mean, that's the way the cards are set. But I feel if we owe the public, it's been in the newspaper, but we haven't had a public meeting where it's been discussed, so I think it's fair to do it at this point. That would be my comment.
The intent of my motion is not to preclude discussion, but perhaps to delay discussion until we can get a more thorough examination of the issue. And I would also concur with Mr. Robichaux's comments. It's perhaps unnecessary to say so, but I'll say so again. We always challenge our administration and our teachers to provide the best and most effective educational experience that we can possibly manage every day. And while I recognize the data about the number of failures is certainly a concern and a worthy and serious concern, it is not a new concern. And over the last, well, I'll go back 25 years.
Mr. Chair, can I do a point of order?
Yes, sir.
I feel like we're debating the agenda item and we're not at that agenda item. And
Okay.
right now is the discussion of whether or not we should have it on the agenda, and I would rather not debate the merits of the agenda item
All
at this
right.
time. And I think, to my mind, the fact that we're having this discussion at all right now speaks to it should stay on the agenda and we should have a discussion and see where the board wants to go this evening. So I think
Call
the
for a
point of
vote.
order is we need to have a vote on this and decide whether or not we're going to discuss it.
All right, well, yeah, all right, point taken, thank you, sir. All right, well, we have a motion and a second. Any further comment? All right, Mr. Clerk, would you read the roll, please?
Tom,
Aye.
Jason,
No.
Yvette,
No.
myself, I, Jerry,
Yes.
Andrea,
No.
Chad,
No.
It fails 3-4.
All right, item 10E will remain on the agenda. Any discussion about item 3B? All right. As stated, the agenda is approved. That brings us to item 3.
I think you have to have a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, point of order, I don't think we've actually approved the agenda.
Oh, yes,
yet.
okay, yes, thank you, thank you.
Not approved the
I would
agenda.
now entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the one change of 3B, a robotics team commentary.
So moved.
Move,
Second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Brings us to item 3, recognitions, awards, presentations. I believe Mr. Sesker had something to add about our worthy and valuable school board student representatives.
Yeah, so maybe we could have them come up in front here. Jenna and Hannah, I've got a couple of plaques to honor you with for the time that you've put forward. And certainly, let's go right behind Mike, because the board may want to say some things to you too. But congratulations, thank you for your work and your help very much. And this plaque, that one is for Hannah. And this one's for Jenna, so thank you very much. And you guys, go ahead. They're your partners in ask them any questions or give them.
Well, I would like to express on my behalf, and I think I'm speaking for the other board members, a sincere appreciation for the time and effort that you've given to us on the board to share your point of view and information about what's happening in the high school, and you've been a very valuable addition to our meetings this year. So thank you very much.
Well, I would just like to ask you both to say a little bit about your plans for next year. We've been so happy to have you with us this year, and I'd like to hear about where your plans are.
I'm planning on going to the University of Eau Claire in Wisconsin and going into something with business. I'm not sure what, but something of that.
I'm going to be going to Drake University next year, studying actuarial science and business administration.
We have a job opening coming up.
I would just like to echo Mr. Casper's thoughts and comments. Wonderful job, thank you. And I've been on the board 2 years, and we had a great rep last year. We have 2 great reps this year. I honestly don't know who's coming in to sit in this seat or these seats next year, but they have a high watermark to fill, and great job, so thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much. All right, item 3B is Mr. Enbrecht wishing to share with us the adventures of the robotics team.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to, tonight, obviously I'm a board member, but I wanted to take off my board member hat for a moment and put on my coaching hat and talk about the program that's been my privilege to run for the last 2 years. That on Saturday was able to place 3rd at the state tournament and tell you all a little bit about it. But I need to start with a huge thank you to this school district and to this community. This program is not possible without the support that comes from the Faribault Public Schools. Many robotics programs do not get the financial support and the space support from their schools that we are currently giving to the robotics program. And all that we have been able to accomplish is in large part because of that. We owe that to the board. I owe that to all of you. I abstained from that vote, I'm pretty sure, because of my role in the team and to this community. So a huge round of thanks. We have also had tremendous support from this community. Faribault Transportation cut our transportation costs in about half to help us travel to our competitions. The kids got to ride up to state in a coach bus. We got to surprise them with that on the day of competition, and they were extremely excited about that. MRG and Mercury are 2 manufacturers here in town. Our students can design something on a computer and draw it up in 3D and we can send it to MRG and Mercury, and they will turn around and make it for us for free in 48 hours. I'm sure they don't do that for their clients, but they do that for us to help us with this team. Our success is not possible without them, and they deserve a huge public thanks. And now for a little bit about the team. I'm a numbers guy, so the number I want to start with is 4,000. That's the number of hours that this team put into making the robot that we brought to state for this competition. I rankle every time I hear somebody refer to us as the robotics club, because it sounds to me like we get together once a week and talk about robots and it just sort of shows up in the competition. It doesn't. We are a team and we work as a team, and no single person puts in 4,000 hours. That is a team effort, and we've been at it for 5 months now. We started in December. Working on this robot that we brought to competition this year. I want to make sure you have a sense of the scale of this accomplishment of our students. There are 208 teams in the state. There are more robotics teams than there are varsity hockey programs in the state of Minnesota. We have one of the strongest programs in the nation. Only 2 states have more robotics programs than we do. That is Michigan, who has an outstanding program, and California, who has a population that's roughly 10 times ours. And so Minnesota is one of the most challenging places to try and compete in this nation. And there are no classes. Everybody competes together. The largest school competes with the smallest school. We are all in the same competition. And the small schools have actually been kind of dominant in this competition. So out of those 208 schools, our students were able to go to state this year, qualify for the 2nd year in a row. Last year, I think we were just happy to show up, and it was a great learning experience for us that kind of took us by surprise because the competition got much harder. But this year, we were ready for it, and we showed up, and our robot was noticed. We had some really big obstacles to overcome. Our robot is, the heart and soul of our robot is a camera that aims the robot. The goal of the robot is to pick up a ball, cross some obstacles, and shoot those into a target. And ours could do that as quickly or better than any other robot in the state. And the heart and soul of that was a camera. And the night before the competition, there were these great, beautiful LED lights all around Mariucci Arena that were confusing our camera system. They looked exactly like the target. We found this out about 8 o'clock the night before the competition, and we had about 1 hour to fix the problem. And we pulled together and got that sorted out that night, showed up the next morning crossing our fingers it was going to work. It worked beautifully. In the middle of the competition, we had a claw that is it picks up the balls for us, puts them in the robot so it can toss them. You can't throw balls into the target unless you can pick them up. That claw broke, and a gearbox broke on it, and it no longer worked. And we had to replace it so for about an hour in the middle of the day, we didn't have that. We had to do a couple of competitions with other teams without that. That didn't go our way. But we're out of replacement, and we worked through it as a team and got that back on there and got up and running. And when it was time for the playoffs, people recognized that we had one of the best robots out there. We got drafted. And then in the semifinals, I have to tell the full story. In the semifinals, we were playing we were the 2nd ranked alliance. We were playing the 3rd ranked. That was our seed was 2, and we were playing the third seed. And our camera system, for a very different reason, went out. Communications stopped with it. And so this beautiful robot that could hit targets over and over and over again suddenly couldn't do that. And the driver had to try and do it by themselves. It had not happened in competition before. It happened to us, and we lost that match by the smallest of margins without that. It then happened to us again in the next match. In the semifinals, we're best 2 out of 3, so we just lost 2 matches in the semifinals, and it was somewhat heartbreaking, but not so much because of the chance of a trophy. I think we had a really great shot at 2nd place, but because the robot was not doing what it could. That sent us into the match for the 3rd place. At that time, it was just crossing our fingers. There was nothing for us to fix. We were going to plug in the computer, and maybe the camera was going to turn on, and maybe it wasn't. And so about 2 minutes before the match began, the communications turned on, and I saw that camera, and I saw it was working perfectly. And I turned to our partners and said, we're gonna crush them. And I can't even remember the score of the last match, but it was like something like 150 to 80, and you don't have to know anything about the competition to know that we did. It was great to end with that robot doing exactly what it could. The kids are ecstatic at the third place finish, and I could not be more proud of their accomplishments this year. And I want to finish with one last thing then about our team. This year in Faribault, 2 of our teams have been remarkable, and I'm going to throw robotics in there, but I think also our soccer program has done something remarkable this year. And I want to point out that those 2 teams, more than other teams in our schools, represent the diversity of our schools. We have a very diverse robotics program, racial diversity. We have kids who are at the top of academics in the schools. We also have kids who are in the special education system, and we welcome all of them. And I'm very proud of us welcoming all kids into our robotics programs. We have athletes, we have kids who play a lot of video games. All of that comes to our robotics program. And the soccer program has also taken that. And I think it points out to me how important it is that we keep doing it. Those 2 programs have been kind of natural. It's been easy, because I don't mean to diminish any other programs for that. Robotics, it's new to all of us, so it was easy. Everybody was starting from the same place, so it was easy for kids who hadn't had experience that to jump in. Soccer is a game that's universal and worldwide, so that was a natural program. It's tougher for our other programs, but I think those 2 programs have shown just how worthwhile it is, and their success is in no small part due to embracing that diversity. And I hope that we continue to do it in all of our programs. So that's as coach, what I want to say to this school district and to the school board. And I thank all of you for approving the day that I was on the agenda to become coach of this robotics team. It's kind of taken over my life, but it has been an incredible experience. So I thank you all for putting your faith in me to run the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Enberg. I would like to express my congratulations to the robotics team and to all the groups, activities, teams that are operating here in our public schools. I think it gives students a wonderful opportunity to learn so much about life, about themselves, about working together, and I hope that we can continue to grow our activities program in a way that will help students feel connected with our school districts. So congratulations to the robotics team, congratulations to all the coaches and participants throughout, now that we're approaching the end of our school year. Way to go, Falcons. All right, that brings us to item 4 on our agenda, the community comment. We have opportunity for any members of the community to address the board, a 3-minute limit per speaker, 15-minute limit per topic. And please be aware that the board is not able or willing to respond at this moment, but would certainly be willing to do so after the meeting, and rest assured that your comments are taken seriously by the members of this board. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Not even seeing a fidgeting out there, so I'll assume maybe there is none. All right, that brings us to the consent agenda. This is items that can be approved by one motion unless a board member requests a separate action. Are there any requests for separate action regarding the consent agenda this evening?
Mr. Chair, we do have 2 retirements that maybe we could acknowledge separately
All
from the
right,
consent agenda.
excellent. Okay. With the exception of retirements, I believe we need a roll call vote for the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval.
Thank you.
Second. I'm sorry.
Motion and a second, and a roll call vote, please.
Tom,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Yvette,
Aye.
myself, I, Jerry, Andrea,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, it passes 7-0.
All right, thank very much. Yvette, do you wish to make some comments, or I can try and find it in my 216 pages of material here?
I suppose I can start with just making a motion that we accept the retirement of Sue Petrie, who has a 27-year history with Faribault Public Schools, working at Lincoln Elementary.
Absolutely.
I'll second the motion.
All right. Well, again, we thank all of our retiring employees and wish them well, and thank them for their service to the community of Faribault. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the retirement of Suzanne Kirkpatrick, who has worked at 8 years with Faribault Public Schools and has worked at the CREC building.
Thank you. All right, again, we appreciate her service.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm stuck on page 201. Are you? Is there anything else you-
No, I think that's it.
That covers it. Okay, thank you very much. All right, that brings us to item 6, Curriculum Committee, report from Ms. Cardenudo.
All right, good evening. The Curriculum Advisory Committee met on Monday, May 16th. The highlight was Sam Oak coming in to talk about, well, actually all the highlights of the ELL program, that, being that we have a newcomers program in its first year. He talked about the idea that our students, he felt that, and he's seeing that our students feel more connected, and that really other school districts, many other school districts have come down to see our model, that it is really going that well, that others are actually starting to look at us and asking us to, you know, what have we done to set up this program, and what do we need to do next. We are looking at our program overall. We're going to continue to make improvements, but we have had a really good first year. The second part of the Curriculum Advisory meeting was the staff development team and the curriculum department sharing what our focus will be for the next 5 years. We're looking at equity, efficacy, and strengthening the core as our focus for the year, and had conversations with the curriculum committee to see if they had any input or wanted to make anything to add it to that, but also shared the 5-year plan and the back-to-school workshop. And that was pretty much the whole meeting. The other piece of the meeting that I want to make people aware of is that we did change our meeting date. We have changed it to Monday, June 27th instead of the 20th. It works out better for people in the summertime, and so we did change that meeting date. It was a good meeting.
Could I double check June 20th at 3:30?
27th.
27th instead of the 20th?
Yeah.
And time and place?
It would be the district office boardroom, and I believe the time is 3:30 to 4:30.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Questions? She's already gotten away. All right, that brings us to item B, the technology report. Maria? Ms. Hanson, it should be respected.
Good evening. Just a couple updates in our technology department. Most recently on May 10th, we sent a team to an Apple professional learning event, and it was like a demonstration of the latest Apple tools that are coming out. And there's a lot of new features that are coming out that are focused on education, especially the classroom area. So we're excited to hopefully implement some of those features this summer with our staff once we get it implemented. We're also going to be collecting iPads next week for our grade levels and our one-to-ones. So we're kind of wrapping up our first year of our flight plan, and so we're making plans in preparation on collecting those devices and updating them to Casper. And then the last thing is we're putting together our summer project list. We have another big list going on this summer. We've got new copiers and printers, new classroom projectors, new software, and new building tech moves. So we're going to be another busy summer this year, and hopefully we'll get it all done by the time school starts. Any questions?
not a question, I'd just like to thank you and all the staff members that have worked so hard to make this one-to-one initiative as effective as it's been and deal with the issues that have arisen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, on paper, we're in item 7, the policy committee, no report. Item B, we have approved, do we need to do these one at a time?
It's up to you, you can do them all in one shot.
All right, well, we're looking at 6 policies to be approved based on there being a second reading. Policy 430, the transitional return to work policy. Policy 805, waste reduction and recycling. Policy 806, crisis management policy. Policy 807, health and safety policy. Policy 701, budget modification, and policy 905 having to do with advertising. In my looking at these policies, I did not see anything that was significantly different. I believe they're just updates and so on. I would consider passing these in a single motion, but open to discussion or difference of opinion.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve those aforementioned policies. I think we can do this in just a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to item C, or 7C, and we are rescinding policies that we have just now approved. Policy 806, crisis management, 807, health and safety, 808, modification of school district budget adopted. Well, that wasn't one, that's a,
Budget modification.
that wasn't in the above list.
Budget modification.
Okay.
Numbering has changed.
I see, okay. And policy 903.1, waste reduction, and 905, advertising. So I believe we can handle these with one motion unless there's an objection. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to rescind the mentioned policies as listed in the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 8A, we have a report from the Finance Committee.
Mr. Chair, we will be reviewing the contracts that we discussed at the Finance Committee. I will add, however, that we did table a couple contracts with Nurse Strand to look at adding an administrative cost to those contracts going forward, but otherwise the discussions in front of us was what we discussed at the Finance Committee.
So those tabled items will appear at a later point.
Yes.
And actually, we did put the administrative cost into these proposals now, so if you wanna just take a look at, and you can talk to Clean about those, so, that's right. We put that in because of the discussion we had from the Finance Committee, we added those in.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't look at them carefully.
That's okay.
Apologize, my mistake.
That's right.
So then the paperwork that we, or the screen work that we're looking at
It's
was up
accurate.
to date.
It's my
Yep.
mistake.
Okay. All right, then some of these are actions and some are reports. Item 8B1, we need to take an action regarding the iPad loan agreement revisions. And we've been hearing about that at the last several meetings. Are there any further questions from board members? All right, and Maria, nothing new that's come up since last time? Okay. All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the iPad loan agreement revisions.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B2, purchase of services agreement with Cannon Valley Special Education Cooperative, a .1 FTE speech language pathologist. And I believe that we heard about that at the work session.
Was it work session or just finance? I think it was just finance.
It was
Oh,
just finance.
Yeah.
These are positions that were at the original correct building and now being moved to the co-op.
Okay, I see,
Yes.
All right. My mistake, I apologize. I'll entertain a motion to, approve that purchase agreement, or purchase of services agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B3, purchases of services agreement with Cannon Valley Special Education Co-op, a .5 FTE developmental and adaptive physical education. Questions or comments? Oh, I'm sorry, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor of approving the .5 FTE developmental and adaptive physical education position, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B4, high school specific learning disabilities teacher. This is a reallocation of current education, special ed staffing. Entertain a motion to approve.
Just a report, isn't it?
It's just a report. It's,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct.
it just, real quickly, it's just a reallocation of resources, so it's not an impact on the budget.
Right, so we don't need to take an action.
Right, we just wanted to make sure.
Share it with the board.
It does say report, I failed to look far enough to the right. All right, next action item is item 5, B5, food service, no, I'm sorry, I jumped too far. Contract with Teresa Rome for MA billing services, and this has been something that's been ongoing, and there's just been a small change in that contract, as I recall our discussion.
Yeah, and she continues to do a great job of bringing more revenue through our MA billing process, so she does a great job.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve contract with Teresa Rome.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now we have a report. Food service end of the year report, and I believe we have a guest speaker.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I'd like to kind of go over our annual year-end report and highlight some of the activities we've been busy working on this year. One of the first things is our objectives. So what are we here for? We're here to support the Faribault School District through operations, innovation, education excellence, community, and wellness. So there's a nice picture there of our future chefs that you can see that we had a great turnout for this year. On the next slide here is kind of a sneak preview of our proposed meal prices, which you'll be seeing later in the agenda. We are having a 10-cent meal price increase this year, and that is state regulated, just so you're aware where that is driven from. So still very competitive, and you'll see on the next slide where we are at in the region. So I did gather prices from Owatonna, some other surrounding areas as well, so you can see where we're at competitively with our pricing. All right. So next, some of the innovations that we've done. We did the apple tasting at the high school again. We had where the students got to taste the different varieties of apples that we get from Trump's Apple Orchard. And we have 6 different varieties that students got to use their technology with their iPads and got to enter in, which was a neat little ordeal there. We do hand out trophies and little gift baskets for the students that have the best palate of apples. So we did have 6 varieties for them to choose from, and that was always kind of a fun little event that we do. This year we have Liftoff visit. You may remember Liftoff. Very loved by the kids. 5th graders and some of the older ones, we had to rescue Liftoff a little bit from, but overall the younger kids really appreciate Liftoff. He went to all the schools, enjoyed little playground activities, and definitely some cafeteria fun. So it kind of talks through some of the healthy eating and favorite fruits and vegetables, or what we like to push of Liftoff's presence. We also, one of the innovations that we do is a garden toolkit. So it's actually kind of it's an aquarium, which does have a little fish in there. They got to name the fish, so each school got to see it. It also kind of has different herbs that grew on top of it, so it's kind of a whole ecosystem, which is kind of a fun way to educate some of the students as they were coming through the cafeteria lines. All right, so our next thing was our future chef. So this is the first year we've done this. Yvette was kind enough to be one of our judges, and it was a tough competition. Yeah, a lot of food to be had. So we did have 9 chefs of our 5th graders, chefs competing. So the theme was breakfast. So students had to create their recipe. They had bonus points for certain ingredients that they would use. Whole grain tortillas, those types of ingredients. Yogurt, fruit, obviously those types of healthy ingredients. And we had our winner there on the right. So our goal was to increase student awareness of ingredients. We kind of have some picky eaters growing up, and I think we all try to help educate more ingredients. And again, the importance of breakfast is big, and that's something we've worked on, and you'll see that's kind of paid off a little bit. And then second and last, let the kids have fun. So they got to love their uniforms, and it was a fun evening that we had there at Lincoln Elementary. All right, so another innovation that we did, we had Superhero Day. So we did have some of our local heroes. We had our EMTs come visit Roosevelt. We did have our fire chief come visit Jefferson, and we had our police chief come visit Lincoln. So kids got just a kick out of it, handing out stickers, and that was just a fun activity for the kids to appreciate during their lunchtime. We also did the Dr. Seuss contest. We've done that before. Students, depending on their grade, some draw pictures if they're in the younger kindergarten, first grade. Some of the older ones will write stories, and we have 3 different categories. And then we award the winners with a fun hat in their classroom, and everybody that participates, we buy a bunch of pencils and stickers and those kinds of fun things to hand out. So it's part of supporting National Read Across America. We had a little fun. Elf on the Shelf visited all the elementary schools this year. So it's kind of fun thing to get the kids kind of peeking around, find out what the Elf was up to. He did a few different things, playing in flour. You can see him fishing for goldfish there. So fun activity for the kids just to, again, have a little fun in the classroom. All right, so we did have our A to Z salad bar this year. We changed it up a little bit from last year. This year we actually broke it into 26 weeks. So each week we did 1 letter, and we did a fruit or vegetable, whatever. There are some hard letters like X, so we did do some extra fancy star fruit. We did some different things like that. You have to get a little creative. But we do have 26 weeks where really this is a nice layout because we get a feature just really 1 fruit or 1 vegetable that day instead of everything in one day. It's a little less overwhelming for the kids. So they get more effort or more opportunity to try new fruits and vegetables. So it's kind of fun. How many of them get to try star fruit and those types of things, so it's a good way for them just to get more familiar with it. So it's kind of fun when they teach mom and dad at the grocery store a few things, so we like that. Some of the other things we've done is we did the salad bar for the teachers all across the district in all our buildings, so we were running fruits and vegetables everywhere. It was a great partnership. We had over 350 teachers and staff participate, so a lot of lettuce was served those days. So. And that was a week-long process. All right, and then next we did the basic blessings. So if you weren't aware, we had obviously a growing need with our basic blessings backpack program. Their need pretty much doubled this last year. So when we kind of heard about that, we wanted to help out. So one of the things we did is we had a contest, part of Sodexo's national programs, ended with orange. And what we did was we sold tickets. And we sold tickets for a chef's dinner prepared by me, and so we thought it was a fun way to raise money. We raised about $2,500, and what we've done is we've donated that money to the Basic Blessings Backpack Program, which helped provide many meals for them. So they're very appreciative, and that's me at Hy-Vee trying to sell tickets in front of a grocery store. So trying to help people I can show them what to do with their fruits and vegetables. So. All right, so a little bit about our numbers and where we're at. So you can see breakfast education is one of the things we've been working on and will continue to work on. But we did have a good increase in breakfast participation. So we had an additional about 12,000 breakfasts that we served this year, so it's a good increase. And I want you to keep in mind too, as we go to the next slide, we did have the snow days as well. So on top of those 3 different snow days that we had, we would have had even higher participation. So breakfast education, some of the things we've done at the middle school with the SHIP grant that we got, which supported the healthy cafeteria, or the healthy cafe they call it, where they have standing tables in different areas. We also do smoothies at the middle school now twice a week, which is a good opportunity for students to get some good nutrition. Lunch participation, we kind of held our own right there. Again, we would have been right there except for those snow days. And we're working on ways. We have some new innovations I'll talk a little bit about later to help increase our lunch counts as well. But overall, they're still holding strong. All right. So you'll probably remember back the picture on the left there, Mr. Todd holding up the big check. We were the national champion of the Healthy High School Challenge. So we sold the most healthy combos, and out of the whole 208 schools that participate. So out across the country, we got ranked number 1. So we did receive a check from Sodexo for $2,500. Which we just recently purchased some high top tables to go into the high school cafeteria with. So we wanted to, reward our students for their hard work in supporting this great Healthy High School Challenge, and show them what their hard work did. So on the right, that's one of the pictures there from our from the group, or from the
Expo.
The expo. Thank you. And then just some of the things we did. We donated to post-prom party. We've donated about 400 meals to the Spaghetti Feed fundraiser. And then also we had a great business after hours this year at the high school, which I think was fun. And Jason and I learned a lot about the robotics program, and I thought that was totally awesome to see that. So it was a nice showing, I thought, of the Faribault High School. We kind of gave everybody the opportunity to eat like a Street Eats kid or a student. So Street Eats is our newer program. Kind of street food, tacos, that kind of stuff, and it was fun to see the difference in how much lunch has changed since some people have gone through the cafeteria line. So, classroom excellence. One of the newer items we've started doing was the big snack for later, which is our Falcon Sports Pack. We realized, we talked that there's a need for some of our especially secondary and middle school students that are hungry. Maybe they eat early and they have baseball, sports afterwards. So this is a great option for students to be able to grab a bag lunch during lunchtime and hold till after school so they can have some meals after school. So some students are taking good advantage of this, and it's a great program to help support the athletics and any other students that would like a meal that maybe just didn't have that time to pack something before school. All right, so one of the other things we did to support safety, we have a food allergy flow chart. We created this in effort or in combination with the nurses, the nursing staff, is just to make sure that parents can understand how do we safely protect your student with food allergies. Food allergies is a growing concern, and we wanted to make sure we had a good safe path. So we created a nice flow chart just to make sure parents could understand. It's available on our website on how we can protect your students with food allergies. So part of sustainability, we got some funding through the SHIP grant, and what we've done was we've gotten these ozone machines, and they're pretty neat. And what we're trying to do is eliminate waste. We realize because of the federal program, students have to take so much food. They may not want to eat that much food, so we're trying to find ways, hey, how can we reduce this waste and maybe give it a second chance? So what we've done is we've created, we found this ozone machine. And what we do is it's a chemical-free way to sanitize fruit. So at the elementary level, students are now, as they would pour out their milk and before they dump their tray, if it's a piece of fruit they haven't eaten yet, they can actually set that into a bus tub, and our staff will wash that, and now we're donating that to the Basic Blessings Backpack Program. So, and throughout some of the other needs across the city. So. Right now, I know at Roosevelt alone in the last 2 weeks, we're donating about 250 pounds worth of fruit every week. So it's considerable amount of fruit that would have gone in the garbage, now has a second opportunity to be able to fill the need later. And sometimes, at elementary age, there's only so much they can eat in that time. or, or if they're not hungry at that time. So it's nice to give them that second option. At the secondary level, what we do is we actually have it right behind the cashier or right behind the cash register. So if students know they don't want that apple, but they had to take it, it's a great way for them just to be able to drop that. And with that fruit, we've actually donated that to basic education. And so every week, if you've been into basic education, it's pretty neat. You walk in there and you see a nice big basket of fruit for anybody in there can just go out and grab an orange or a pear or something. So it's a nice
Adult basic ed, yeah. The adult basic ed.
Yeah, adult basic ed, yep. All right, and then focusing on the future, what do we got in store? So we're working on breakfast participation. There's this wonderful group called Community Blueprint. It's really marketing, and it's a great way to kind of change how students look at breakfast. So we'll be working with them in creating a new revision of how our breakfast programs are serving, especially at the secondary. We're trying to make breakfast cool again for our high schoolers and for our secondary kids. And then one of the things we're working on right now, and we'll be continuing to work with over the summer, is a breakfast for lunch concept. So students love breakfast, but might not be hungry for it in the morning, but they may be hungry for it at lunch. So we've seen this kind of as a growing trend, and it's something we're going to do to support our students. So thank you again for the opportunity. We've really enjoyed and had a great year. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate all that you do.
thank you.
Now we take an action on the contract with Sodexo for the 2016-17 school year for food services. Am I correct that this is this the item that includes, no, I'm sorry, that's coming up.
Yep.
Never mind. I'd entertain a motion to approve the food service contract for 2016-2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just would reiterate what you said about it being an excellent year for food service. It's really exciting to see all the innovation that's going on, so you'll have a hard time matching that, I can imagine.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to item 8, food service meal prices. And my comment that was a little out of place is that these prices are determined on the basis of federal law, not on the basis of any local decisions.
Right, and if you want an explanation why, I'm sure Clene would be more than happy to give you that explanation again.
You can make sense out of a federal law?
I could try. I just want to get you up here one more time. There you go.
Okay, so I'll try and explain this. Because we get reimbursed for meals for kids who qualify for free meals or reduced price meals, the government wants to make sure that that money is not subsidizing the fully paid meals. So every year we have to run through the price equity, what's called a price equity calculator, and what it does is it looks at the number of meals you sell in all those categories and determines if your price that you're charging for a fully paid meal equals the cost of that meal, in other words, and looks at the cost of the other meals, the revenue that you're collecting for those other meals to make sure that the money is not in fact being used to subsidize the fully paid meal. So it's just a way for them to be sure that you're not undercharging full price meals and using the money that you get for reimbursement for free and reduced price meals to make up that difference. That make sense? So unfortunately, the calculator indicated that we needed to raise prices a dime this year, or for next year.
All right.
Mr. Chair, can I ask one question?
Of course.
Colleen, it was in Tim's presentation, there was a slide that showed us and all the other districts.
Yes.
You know, kind of in our area, or
Correct.
peers type of thing.
Yep.
What sets our price and what sets their price? You know what I mean? They're all slightly varied by a nickel, a dime, or 20 cents type.
Right. You know, it seems like we all, now because of this price equity calculator, we're all kind of advancing in similar ways. Now, years and years and years ago, what set the price? You know, I don't know. It could be a difference in operations. You know, if you were doing it in-house and you had contract language that maybe salaries were higher, it might have set prices higher. It all was individual based on the cost, because the food service fund does have to take care of itself, or should.
Thank you.
All right. Further questions, comments? All right, I believe we're at a point where we can entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2016-17 food service meal prices.
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Unless there's someone who would like to make further comments. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 8B9. A request to increase the general community education budget for Faribault Education Center equipment. Mr. Sesker, you and I had a conversation about this last week. Would you care to
Sure, it's
share
just,
that with everyone? I'm not.
Yep.
As I understood it, is coming out of community ed funds. It does not impact the general fund.
That's correct, yep. There's just a few other furniture items that were noted for the FEC that Anne Marie would like to pick up, and her budget is healthy, and this would be a good investment for her.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We need to take action on the ice arena agreement. And
Wanna talk about that?
I think this is a standard agreement for hours that we use every year with the ice arena, and if there weren't any changes, it's going forward the same.
And as I recall, information given to me is that we're getting all the hours that we need and hasn't, okay?
Yes.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the ice arena agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have the E.O. Johnson Print Management Contract. I'd like to just have some public statement about what that entails.
Okay. Glenn go into more depth on what that is.
About 5 years ago, we went a different direction with our copiers. A lot of districts had gone to what they call print management contracts. So the price includes the machines, the toner, all the service on the copiers, and you could also wrap in your printers. So at that time, we did a formal bid process, interviewed 3 companies. They came in, did their presentation, and we went with E.O. Johnson. And they reduced the number of the machines in the district very drastically. It was over 200 when we looked at individual printers and copiers, and we dropped down to less than 100. I think it was in the 80s or 70s. I think I attached that document. So for the last 5 years, then that included all copiers and printers throughout the district. It's a managed print contract, so we pay based on the number of prints we use, per print charge for black and white, a little higher charge for color, and that covered all the service, all the ink cartridges, and the machines. And we were very pleased with the service. It came time to renew the contract. We didn't go out for a formal bid this year because they are part of state contract pricing. That's already been bid out, so you don't have to bid that. So we did not, because when I surveyed the staff, they were very pleased with the service we'd gotten. The copiers had worn out a little bit in that last year of service. Some of the Toshibas were probably a little small for the needs that we had in some of the buildings, so we did have some issues with a couple of the machines, but E.O. Johnson was very responsive in getting our needs met. So when they came back this year, we had them again do an exhaustive walkthrough of all the buildings to make sure that we were meeting all the needs, the print needs of the district. And we reallocated some printers, added a couple, and changed a couple here and there. But as they went through their pricing, we are able to get better machines. We're going with a Lanier brand of copier at a less cost. So it's nice that that technology has come down a little bit. We're going to enhance it a little bit too. We're adding something called Follow Me Printing, so that now when you send a print job, you can pick it up at any printer in the district. So if you're coming out to the district office, you can send it from your desktop at Lincoln and come over to our building and get that printed out. So very excited to move into the next phase. But it has been nice because it's removed a lot of excess machines out of our buildings. It's removed a lot of workload on the tech staff. 5 years ago, they were doing a lot of the printer maintenance. We had still had copier maintenance that was handled by outsiders, but it's been really a great partnership, and they're a wonderful company. Matter of fact, I just got an email today that they won the Distinguished Ethical Business Award in Wisconsin, so they're a pretty well-known company.
I have a question. Do we have any information about, are we progressing towards a paperless school, at least in the instructional area? Because I know that years ago, student printouts were a considerable issue, and wasted things that were printed and never picked up was an issue. Do you have any information in that regard?
Yes, two things. 5 years ago, when we went to the print management contract, we changed the way things are printed. In other words, you could send a job to a printer or a copier, but it would not automatically spit out. It would sit in a print queue until you came and actually fobbed in. You have a fob you will swipe it and it recognizes you as a user, and then you choose to print it out. That cut down drastically on the number of jobs that people would send and just print out, and then they'd sit there forever. They forgot they printed them, and then they would never go and get them. So that really helped. That's the first thing that really helped. The second thing that we've noticed with the iPads this year is that we did drop about 300,000 prints. So that was pretty huge in the last 6 months. So we're seeing some, and that's probably partially why we're seeing that drop in our print management contract too, because we're anticipating less prints.
Great, thank you very much.
So we're getting there.
Yes, we are. Any further questions? All right. Then I would entertain a motion to approve the E.O. Johnson print management contract.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there didn't appear to be any questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to the property and liability insurance quote. Notice some significant pages in my packet here. Colleen, are you the one?
I'll stay here if you have questions. I can talk a little bit about it too, but there basically is no increase. We actually would have seen a decrease in our rate this year, but we added square footage with the addition at the middle school and the addition at the high school. So the rate comparatively went down, but it actually went up because we have additional square footage that we're insuring.
Okay.
We haven't had any claims, so we would have expected that we'd get a good renewal on that.
Any further questions for Colleen? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the property and liability insurance quote.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our workers' compensation insurance quote. And Mr. Sesker, I would call our discussion of this a little bit. Colleen, we've had some.
Bad luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just call it bad luck, and that's the company, when they came to interview us, they said the same thing. It's just we've had couple of very unfortunate high claims. So we are going with a different company this year that will help us in a couple of different ways. Staff that they have on board are nurses and doctors, so they will triage our work comp cases, and the ones that need immediate fast help, they assign the nurses to them right away, and the nurses are in contact with our injured employees. So that should help in getting them the right medical treatment and prompt and fast treatment. You did pass or approve the return to work policy, so we will be implementing that 100%. We haven't always done that with employees, so now we are really going to make sure that our employees get back to work within their restrictions once they have an injury. So that should help too. But the premium is a little bit higher because we have had high claims. So our experience with our premium is based on what's called an experience mod, and that unfortunately is a little bit higher than it should be. So our rate is a little bit higher.
Okay, and is this calculated on a year-to-year basis?
Yes. So we're hoping that with the two changes in service and the policy, that will help us going forward.
We did have some money in the budget that we were able to allocate towards this to absorb some of this increase.
And would this typically, I guess I don't recall, this would be the time of year where this would normally be considered?
Yes, it's always on a fiscal year basis, July 1 to June 30.
But we were forced to change providers this year
Yes,
because our
July
other
1 will,
provider
yep.
discontinued with us.
Well, now we're rated high risk.
All right. I'd entertain a motion to approve the workers' compensation insurance quote.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Construction finance reports.
I don't have any comments there unless you have any questions. We're winding down. We're getting really close to being able to move in, and I believe punch lists have been done at both locations, and we don't have much money left to pay them, so that's good.
All right, so things are progressing well, on schedule, with no immediate issues.
Yes. And I would also maybe note that would be of interest to you is that our change orders came in well under budget, so that was also
Excellent.
a good thing.
Excellent.
Mr. Chair,
Always
can I-
nice to avoid those unexpected things.
Can I just ask one question?
Of course.
Colleen, the balance that's left over after the change orders that you just referenced, does that
Yes.
just go back into the general fund, or does that go into one of Kevin's funds, or where does?
That, we budgeted that out of operating capital,
Okay,
so that it will just go back into operating capital.
okay, thank you.
I will entertain a motion to approve no, that's just a report, never mind. Brings us to item 8B15, the Nurse Strand lease and service agreements, and there were some changes in that.
Yeah, and I can start, and then I'll have Colleen fill in the gaps with that. Nurse Strand is a separate school district, they're a charter school, so we have to treat them just like all the other schools. And we've had communication between Nurse Strand and us, it's been all open and transparent, and we're all on the same page. But we needed to separate some of the things that we had been doing in the past. And one of those, for instance, is the access to the internet. And we needed to make sure that when we lease the internet, we only lease the portion that we're using. We can't lease the portion that they're using, so there has to be some sort of charge. The other thing that we do charge still are the custodial services. There's 4 of them in there. What were the other?
We do the custodial, the technology, and then we have the food service, we
And-
manage that, and then the lease itself.
And the lease itself. So those 4 items
Building
we
lease.
itemize, and now we're gonna actually charge them a bill per month, above and beyond the regular lease that we charge them.
Okay.
So I just want to apologize to Yvette because the
That's
finance
all.
committee
Should've
did
read the
table
memo.
it. Yep, they did table it, the 2 agreements, custodial and technology, so we could go back and add the administrative fee. And I wasn't sure, I suggested we table it because I wasn't sure how fast Nearstrand could respond, but they responded right away and said that's fine. So I'm hoping it's okay that we brought them tonight because
No, I
their
should've
board
read the
needs to
memo.
approve them.
It wasn't your fault at all.
All right. Further questions? Comments? All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the Nurse Strand lease and service agreements.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we have the item 8B16, the Bethlehem Academy Co-op financial agreement. I came that close to saying cool.
And I can start, and then if you'd like to come on up, Danny, and ask him some of the specifics for that. But we've changed the model. We're looking at more of a per participant model to try to get all the political pieces out of the argument, justification, whatever you may say. The Finance Committee did review that and did approve this. And you can see what the cost is on that last page. In 2014-15, VA's share of the athletics was $14,837. In 15-16, it would go to 22,270. And we have, again, been very transparent with the VA folks. And Ed has seen this, and they know that this is coming too. So with that, if you would like to ask Danny some questions, Danny is the one that came up with the spreadsheet with the help of Andy. I know she helped out with some of the numbers. It should be very accurate and, again, based on that per participant.
I can add a little bit of context to my Microsoft PowerPoint picture art graph that's included in here. This is kind of many questions came up at the Finance Committee meeting about what factors need to be taken into account when we look at an agreement like this. And obviously enrollment is the driving force with the Minnesota State High School League when it comes to classification within each individual sport, and then ultimately that drives where our section placement is. So this sheet is the same as the bottom right table on the actual spreadsheet. And this just kind of gives you a view of where all the 13 sports that we co-op with Bethlehem Academy, where they kind of fall as far as classification goes, and whether they toe the line of bumping up a class or moving down a class, or if we were to make a change where we'd be a little bit more solid in those classes. So I'll use dance team for an example. Dance team, in that second column, the number 3 there, that's the number of classes. There are 3 classes in dance. The 2 A's below that signal that we currently participate in Class AA. So there is a class above us, and that carries all the way down for all the other sports. So the top number is the number of classes in that sport, and then the lettering below it is where we currently are. Over to the right is really 2 pieces of information. Within each sport, the top 3 columns, or the top row, those last 3 columns, that's the general enrollment cutoff. The Minnesota State High School League releases where schools typically fall for enrollment cutoff for each classes. So schools that are 1,167 for dance or bigger will generally fall in Class 3A. Schools that have enrollment of 393 to 1166 will generally fall in Class AA. Directly below that is kind of more of the priority piece of information when it comes to classifications of how they specifically determine. So for dance teams, they literally will take how many number of dance teams there are, divide it into thirds. The biggest third is Class 3A, the middle third is Class 2A, and the bottom third is Class Single A. So that can kind of give you a sense of where each of our sports are based on our enrollment. Some sports, I will be honest, it doesn't matter. For instance, girls tennis. If you look on the second to last sport, 527 is the enrollment cutoff for the highest class. I hope that we never have to play in single A. But that just shows, that's an example of, it really isn't going to matter whether we have BA's enrollment included in our calculation for the state high school or not. We're going to compete in that class. There are a couple of sports that adding BA's enrollment to our Minnesota State High School calculation does and can have an impact. Dance is one of them. This year we are in Class AA, as I mentioned. We are one of the biggest schools in Class AA. We've been in Class AAA. It's on a 2-year rotation, so next year will be our second year in Class AA. After next year, we very well could go up to Class AAA as well. We are right on the line where we have been doing some jumping back and forth. Girls gymnastics is another one. We're currently in Class AA, which is the highest class in gymnastics. If we were to, if that co-op was to ever go away and we would drop BA's enrollment as part of the calculation, we could potentially drop down to a mid to high enrollment in Class Single A. The other sport that I'll call out is boys and girls hockey. Not from a Minnesota State High School League standpoint, but from a conference standpoint. How our conference does their scheduling is a round and a half round robin. 12 teams in the conference. The conference gets divided into 6 divisions, large school and small schools. You play your division twice through the year, and you play the other division once. They use enrollments to help calculate that. So right now we are the smallest team in the large division. So we're playing the Rochesters, the Owatonna, those schools twice every year, and playing the smaller schools once. So it happens that it needs to be taken into account at the state level, but there also are some little bit more localized considerations to be taken into account. The other thing I will say that's on the spreadsheet is, at the finance committee meeting, there was some conversation as far as whether we should be accounting for administrative costs. For my time, for my assistant and my secretary's time, also for some general costs that all of our athletes get to utilize. Athletic trainers, state expenses, some of those types of things that come out of my central activities budget. So on the left side of the spreadsheet is a calculation of administrative costs broken down into really using two models blended together. It starts at a proportion of my total activities budget that's specifically earmarked for athletics, and then whittled down to a per participant based on all of our participants in 7 through 12 athletics, middle school, high school, Faribault kids and BA kids all included. I know that's a lot of information, so feel free to fire away if you would like.
Danny, does this bill get submitted like this time of year, or is there any pay half at Christmas time and then catch up with the following, at the end of the year type of thing, the second half, or how does that work?
Yes and no. I think in our current model, and just to kind of reiterate what our current model is, we're talking about billing based on proportion of enrollment, which is what we're at right now. If Faribault has 90 kids, BA has 10 kids, Faribault pays 90% of the fees, BA pays 10% of the fees. In that model, we would bill about this time of year because a lot of our co-op sports are a lot less in the spring, so it's a good time to see how the year unfolds. If we were to go to a per participant model, and I've talked to Andy about this, we would look at billing in July or August for the preceding year. That way it becomes an actual cost per participant model and not just estimations, because this spreadsheet, while I feel very confident that we've done the best that we possibly can, until June 30th or until the new fiscal year starts, these are still only estimations. There's salaries, there's benefits that get taken into account. If we have a coach that doesn't get hired because of numbers, we would project that out as part of the cost, and then that would be something that would be actualized come the close of the year. And Andy, from an accounting and finance standpoint, didn't think that billing in Q1 of the following fiscal year would be any issue whatsoever.
I might suggest we do it quarterly, and then you bill 3 times, and then the 4th time is a cleanup bill, and you wait then until July 1, because otherwise BA is going to get a big bill. We can work that out with BA.
I will say that the finance committee voted in favor of a cost per participant model without the tax base added, tax configuration added. And we did not have the administrative cost at that time, so we did not vote on it with the administrative cost. But the finance committee did approve the concept of cost per participant.
And I would just add that Mr. Friesen, the BA athletic director, was there, gave his thoughts and input, and it was a very, I think, healthy conversation. Just add that.
All right.
So are we voting, would administrative costs be included, or is that something we need to decide yet tonight?
That's what the finance committee wanted you guys
Us.
to decide tonight.
Okay,
If you want to include the administrative cost, or if you just want to do the cost per participant.
okay. And we've started including administrative costs, like you said, to North Strand and other
Yep.
areas?
Yep.
Okay, okay.
So,
Do we need 2 motions here? One to include or not include that? Or
You-
we just approve this as it's presented in our packet?
Yes, you can do it either way. So if you want to include it, then you would include it. Otherwise, if you want to exclude it, you could
can you just
exclude
say
it.
the number this year, for example? Just say what the total, to have that on the public record. What approximate number we're looking at for this year if we did it cost per participant, what we're looking at?
If we did a cost per participant for 15-16,
Yep.
the estimated number would be about 22,270 without administrative costs.
And then if we add,
And then if we would add the administrative costs, it'd be the 22,270 plus the 78,73. granted, like I said, their benefits and things can change as we close out the year, so.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the cost per participant without the administrative fee.
Without the administrative fee.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the co-op financial agreement without including administrative costs. Do I have that correct?
Correct.
All right, further discussion?
I would just say I made the motion based on some discussion that we had at the finance committee, that we felt the positions were in place and that BA did some of their own administrative work with students if there were discipline matters.
Okay.
Also, they're working a very tight budget. They're having some financial concerns. And they are taxpayers in town.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Bethlehem Academy co-op financial agreement without including administrative expenses. Questions, comments again? All those in favor, please, I wonder if we should have a roll call on this one. I think maybe, let's go with a roll call vote on this one.
Is this 8?
8B16.
B16. Tom?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Yvette?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Jerry?
Aye.
Andrea?
No.
Chad?
No.
Mr. Chair, it passes 5-2.
All right, thank you. All right, that brings us to item 8C, the May enrollment report.
Yeah, and I just want to point, we're getting close to the end of the year too. You see that when we projected in June 2015, we projected about 3807. That includes tuition kids. In the May, we have the 3766. We don't have the tuition kids in there yet. We'll put those in at a later time, but traditionally we're 50, 60 kids that you can probably add to that total for the tuition kids that are out. So we're doing pretty well with our enrollment.
Okay. With that addition, that would bring us above the estimate from
Yeah.
last summer.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask Mr. Shesker a
Of
follow-up
course.
question? Can you tell me again, what are those tuition kids? What is that?
Tuition kids are kids that are going to, maybe there's a school outside of our district that they're going to. Is it a private school or a college or anything like that? It's almost everything that you can possibly imagine that they're going to. You have the academies, all those different things that they are partially, sometimes we even share kids going to like the Minnesota Academy for the Deaf. They'll go 0.5 there and then they'll come back here for the rest of the time. But we tuition that 0.5. So, and they're all fractions. So like a 0.3, a 0.5, a 0.8, a 0.2, some are 1.0. And we can actually list we can still do that. I'm going to go back to my memory. You can actually list those tuition kids and where they actually go. And they can list all the different schools in not just regionally, but in the entire state where they may or may not go. And then when you add up all those decimals of all those different kids from our district where they're going, then we get to count those as our tuition kids.
So for us to count them, they have to take some class or some services within the Fairville Public Schools? Is that accurate or no?
Not necessarily. Some could be like a court sent to a different place.
Okay.
And it could be special education placement. There's a variety of different things. It might be good just to pull that at the next finance committee meeting to explain that tuition. It's a lot easier when you have the sheet in front of you to explain where these kids are going.
But if a kid lives in the Fairville School District and they open enroll to Medford, we get 0 of that.
Well, I think we actually get a little bit now. We get an 1/8. They changed that formula a little bit, or do we get 0 now? It's 0. Yeah, so you're right, it's 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious,
Yep.
thank you.
And they also changed the levy too. Some of the levy follows those kids, the local levy that we generate from that student. That used to never happen, but now that levy follows that kid
Okay.
to either a charter school or an open enrollment piece.
Thank you.
All right. And that is a report. Further questions? Then our financial reports for May. Any questions or concerns?
These were reviewed at the finance committee as well, and we didn't have any questions or concerns at that time.
And so this, the report I'm looking at was as of April 30th, and then we will get a end of the year report after June 30th, am I correct?
Yeah, we'll do this every month. We'll give you a May 30th, an update. Yep.
All right, any other questions on the financial reports? Okay. That brings us to item 8C3, acceptance of gifts and donations. The following are listed here in my materials. We have high school student of the month donations. We have $45 from Metcon Companies, $45 from State Bank of Faribault, $45 from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Minnesota, and $45 from the Ritchie Eye Clinic. So on behalf of the board and the district, we would like to thank those organizations and the people involved for their support of our high school student of the month. Item 2 on this list is from the Joanne stores, items valued at $362.31, a donation in support of community education programs. So thank you to Joanne stores. And here it says numerous donations for the middle school Washington, D.C. field trip in the amount of $3,049.56. So on behalf of the board, thank you to all community members, all organizations, the businesses that have stepped up to support our school programs. Thank you very much. I need a motion to accept these gifts. Motion and a second?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just a
Yeah.
roll call.
Make a motion, the second, then it's a roll call.
All right, thank you. All right, well, we had a motion. We have a second. Catherine?
Who is second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and we need a roll call vote on these. So, Mr. Clerk?
Tom,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Yvette,
Aye.
myself, aye, Jerry,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, it passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you to all those people and organizations involved. That brings us to item 9, other committee reports. Of those listed here, only the facility committee, and that's listed as Mr. Sesker.
Yep, and there's an attachment there, that's in there, just, what we've been reviewing the whole time, mainly focusing on the district office and conference center. We also had a presentation on solar gardens, so we're continuing to investigate that cost. And then also we'll talk about the ad hoc committee later on, what that is all about for discussion and potential approval.
Any questions for Mr. Sesker? All right. Well, that brings us to item 10 of the matters. Resolution 16-20 relating to the termination and non-renewal of teaching contracts. And let's see, there we are. Do we need any discussion or questions in regards to that? I'm on page, I can't tell, 194, 195?
Mr. Chair, I'll move approval.
All right, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion? I believe this is a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yep.
All right.
Tom,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
Yvette,
Aye.
myself, aye, Jerry,
Aye.
Andrea,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, it passes 7-0.
Thank you very much. Item 10B, Ad hoc Facility Committee to explore facility needs for the Faribault Public Schools. Mr. Sesker, you and I had a conversation. Would you care to
Mhm.
fill in with the board and the public?
Yeah, and we've talked about this at the facility committee a couple of times, and feel free to chime in there, you guys. We are at a point where we have our long-range facility plan is pretty much complete, and we're bringing it alive to get some more input from community members to decide whether or not we want to place items on a potential bond issue in the future. And we need some feedback from the community to see if there are items that are on there that we would like to do that. So the main purpose of the ad hoc facility committee would be to explore options for our facility needs. And it could include additions, improvements, renovations. It could be a bunch of different things that we want to look at for our school district. And we want to get some good feedback from maybe 25 to 30 folks to give us some feedback and bring that feedback to the school board as a suggestion on what we could possibly do. And then the board would then decide whether or not this is something that they want to vote on in a spring or a fall campaign. So that's the purpose of the ad hoc committee, to see if the board would like to move forward with a potential bond issue.
And members of this committee would be solicited, or how would they be determined?
We'd probably open it up as an application to make sure we include as many people as we can. And of course, we do some recruiting so we can try to get people in there. Sometimes it's easier to call people. As we learned from the previous levy, you have to go to the people sometimes to recruit them. And I'd like to have at least a couple board members. You could do it actually you could have all the board members involved. You make it a public meeting and everybody could be involved in it. Or you could have a couple of representatives. It just kind of feels how much time you want to take and how comfortable you are with that process. And then of course Kevin Clean and I would be on that, or Andy I guess, on that piece, and representatives from the staff. So, but we want to get a really good cross section of community members, and we'll need some feedback from folks to do that. But I don't want to pursue that unless the board supports it. And the facility committee has asked me to bring this to the board.
Colleen should have the time.
She'll be a community volunteer.
She'll be a community
Did you say
volunteer.
volunteer? Oh, you, Yvette, you said volunteer.
Which means you have to live in Faribault.
All right, well, I'd just like to make the comment that I trust that there will be curricular representation on this. I have frequent flashbacks to several of our meetings here this past winter, and discussions about student groups being meeting in hallways and other odd positions, and whether or not we're going to be able or would be able to deliver appropriate services and support in those kinds of locations, or do we need some kind of facility adjustment or increase in order to meet those needs. So I would assume we're going to have some kind of teaching staff, curricular, leadership input into this. All right. I believe that we need to approve this ad hoc facility committee.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
First two volunteers.
I'll volunteer.
Yeah.
Shocker.
It's fine. And if it's obviously people on the facility committee would have first shot at it. But again, when Tom and I visit, if you're getting feedback that we should have it as entire board there, that's fine too. I've seen that work as well.
Board members encouraged to contact me if you have an interest. I am also interested in working on that committee. All right, brings us to 10C, employment contract for Mr. Jamie Bente as high school principal.
Move approval?
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Maybe he should step forward and introduce himself.
I second that motion.
All right, so my name is Jamie Bente, and I just wanted to say, yes, I've been the assistant principal at Faribault High School for the last 3 years, and I am very honored and excited to be the next principal at Faribault High School. I see amazing and great things that we're going to be able to accomplish here in the next few years, and I'm just very excited to be part of the team. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. One of the things that particularly encourages me is the number of staff that have spoken to me that are excited about your taking this position, so a good sign. All right, I need a motion.
Oh, already got it.
Do I have one? All right, I have one, and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. You're hired.
Too late now.
And we have a conditional employment contract for Ms. Kelly McDermott, a middle school assistant principal. And I believe the conditional is, as I read it, awaiting administrative licensure this July.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions or comments?
Could I ask Superintendent Susker just to say a little bit about this candidate?
Yeah, and you know what? I was not involved in that interview process. That was Colleen and Nicole and Jamie. And we did have, I think we ended up with 70 applicants that we thinned it down to 5 that we interviewed. And Kelly did a nice job at her interview, and according to Nicole and Colleen, and she came out on top with the staff votes, and that's who we're recommending right now. But certainly, those two are in the process. I think Jamie, you're in it, and Jamie was in it too. Feel free to ask them about that too. She comes from Prior Lake School District. She's been in the classroom in the middle school. She's also has experience in a lot of the programs that we're already implementing in the middle school. So. Mm-hmm.
I do not recall a motion.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the conditional employment contract for Kelly McDermott.
Chair, I just have one question. The conditional situation, have we had a conversation with Minnesota State Mankato that she will be licensed?
We have.
And you have a letter to that effect?
Did we get a letter for that, Nicole? I think, yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 10E, action on the Faribault Middle School 8th grade pre-academy proposal and the Faribault High School 9th grade academy proposal. I believe now is when the discussion is hoped for.
I'll start in if that's okay.
Sure.
Nobody else is racing to the microphone. Go ahead.
Should have a motion and a second for the discussion to take place.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, that's correct. Do we have a motion for approval? I
We'll have
believe we have
discussion after a
to,
motion.
we have to
okay.
approve the item, or have a
I'm sorry.
motion and a second to approve, and then we can have our discussion. So,
Thank you.
is there a motion for approval?
I will move that we approve the 8th and 9th grade academy.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Wolf, you're invited to.
Okay, sorry about that. My apologies for going out of order there.
My fault.
Yeah, so I'll start with, I think this got to us a bit late. Obviously, there was an insurance miscalculation. Many things were tabled that they did not get to us. It's my understanding as the presentation by the new principal, Mr. Venti, and Mr. Myhock, the middle school principal, at our last work session. Mr. Venti had said that 20-plus teachers from the high school have been voluntarily attending meetings to look into this. I think anytime you get 20 staff paying, 20 staff members there, I guess I don't know if they were there on clock time or volunteering, I guess I don't know that. But anytime you get 20-some teachers stepping forward, I think it indicates, at least in my eyes, that there's a definite need. 28% of 9th grade students failing a core class, A class, 70% of those 28% was a core class. 35% of the 8th grade is failing a class. Like I said previously, we all know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and, expecting a different result. The data that I see goes back 5 years, and I don't see things improving. Actually, this last fall of 15, things actually jumped up a bit to the negative side. Should this go back 10 years? I don't know what those numbers would look like. I don't believe that we're reinventing the wheel here based on the anecdotal evidence that Northfield has shown, and their drastic results down from the mid-20s down to 12, 13% in year one, down to kind of a flat baseline of that 6%-ish type of thing. I'm not a fan of adding administration. I'll go on record for that. I don't believe anybody should ever add just to add. I know there's been some talk about looking at some other alternates to this. And my understanding from the presentation was if we want somebody to oversee and really grade and evaluate the staff that would be in this 8th and 9th grade academy, a coordinator does not work. It needs to be a licensed principal or administration of sorts. Todd's recommendation was, should we do this to fund it out of OPEB? I'll say, should we do it? Because Todd actually said he would wait a year. So I don't see that that would affect our general fund. I think it's very measurable, as Jason had mentioned at our last board meeting, at our last work session, that this would be very measurable results. Sure, do I worry it impacts the budget? I absolutely do, but I can't sit here and not know that we did everything we could to improve some of these students and get them the attention they need. And so that's kind of where I'll leave it. But when our administrators come forward with a new plan and whatnot, and it's affecting a large number like this, these students, every one of these students affects our strategic plan, our outcomes. If you looked at the left side of our outcomes, whether it be our GPA, whether it be additional course offerings, graduation rate, all that stuff. And I don't know the data. If a kid fails 1 or 2 core classes in 9th grade, what their likelihood is to graduate on time. I don't know that. I don't know the data of what the added cost to the district is for failing a 9th grade class, but I am certain anytime a kid has to retake a class, there's added cost. I don't have that data in front of me. I can't quantitatively put a number on it that would potentially help offset this cost, but that's why I support this. I also believe that at times, if you have to reallocate resources to affect a large number of students like this, then I believe that's realistic and reasonable, and so that's why I am supporting this.
Thank you. Other comments?
Well, Mr. Chair, I would say I'm very grateful towards Mr. Wolf and his dedication to this issue and bringing it forward to the board and taking it off of the table and putting it on the table and bringing it to our attention. As Jason mentioned, I've thought about it a lot over the last 3 weeks, month. I do have an issue with the budget going forward. I just feel uncomfortable spending deficit spending to this amount next year. I think it's a great proposal that was given to us. It is the Northfield model, and as Jason said, I can see the success they've done. I do think, in my opinion, there's several issues that we haven't addressed that exist in the Northfield model, and the biggest issue would be the transportation. I have had concerns with this in the past, and it was brought to my attention. I attended the Cannon River Community Trailer Park meeting, and it is a huge issue in the Hispanic community with our high school busing situation. Their opinion, as was presented to me from the community, is a lot of failure is due to not having a bus ride in the winter. So I know that Northfield has a 1-mile radius for the high school. So going forward, I guess I want to say I support this plan, but I think we do need to do a little bit more work, maybe in the transportation area, and maybe also in the outreach and community support services. That's also a big component of the Northfield program. They do, they have an initiative that works a lot with the community, and I do think our community ed can step up and do that, but I'm not sure that's in place at this time. So, it has been a very difficult matter for me to dwell on, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention, but, I would be in favor of waiting a year and trying to incorporate some of these other issues.
Other comments?
Mr. Chair, I think it's important to note that if there is a vote to delay this, that is not a vote to wait a year to address the issue. That's really a vote to take a look at some other options and address it. I agree with you, Chad, that this has been too long. Why are we waiting now to address this? Came to our attention fairly early, so I think it needs to be very clear that waiting a year does not postpone being proactively to address the issue.
Mr. Chair, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I will oppose this. It's too late in the process to bring this to the board, in my opinion. Deficit spending, but also that we gotta have a decent plan in place. It's been mentioned here already. Plus, I'm very upset that a lot of this data was not brought to before the board. One thing that boards do not wanna be is surprised, and this was a big surprise. And, we gotta find what the root cause of this is. And I'm not in favor of another administrator, that I'm totally against. But we gotta find someplace, somehow, we have to address all these failures. And, might have to get down to the staff or teacher level. Why are they letting them fail? What are they doing? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions, and I just can't throw money out of it, which we just put money into the OPEC fund, and now we're taking it back out. You know, then if this is a revolving fund, let us know. But, I will oppose this at this time.
Other comments? Well, I'd like to go back to my comments from earlier. There's no doubt that this is a serious situation. I do not like to see any student fail. And the failure of a class, to me, is a much more significant event than a low test score. But I think this is an issue that is not just the last 5 years. It's been around for a long time. I recall numerous staff meetings about it when I worked at the then junior high, and then middle school, and then the high school. One of the things that concerns me is the number of comments made by teaching staff that the original middle school model has been changed over the years, in large part due to budget restrictions over the last, beginning in the early 2000s. And so many elements of the middle school model, the individual attention, the small group of students working with a small group of teachers where students would come to the attention of the teachers quickly, that a group of teachers could collaboratively try and deal with any issues that were present, such as low academic achievement or attendance or whatever it might be. That's gone the way of previous budget cuts over the last any number of years, but the last 12 years in particular. We were fortunate enough to pass a levy, and we've been able to add back some of what we had cut in the last 4 or 5 years, but I think there are some cuts that have been around a lot longer than that have not been addressed. And I think the reason that students are failing is not just a curricular one. I think there are a lot of social aspects, there are economic aspects, and other things. And so while I respect and admire the work that has been done by the administration and the staff to develop the academy proposal, I am not comfortable in going into deficit spending, which, if we're forecasted out over 5 years comes to $900,000. Without having gone through the due diligence of developing a comprehensive look at the situation, try to determine what factors are involved and have been involved historically, and then looking at all the alternatives for addressing that. In no way would a failure to approve this be an indication that we are satisfied with the status quo. We are not. Since I was a teacher at the middle school, we've developed the PLC system. I would be interested to know how that's working and what steps have been taken in regards to student achievement based on those PLC groups. I would like to know what the continuous improvement teams, if they're still operating at these schools, have had to say and look at this. And I certainly respect the group that has been mentioned that was working with Mr. Bente about this program, and I am encouraged also by some of the staff comments that have been relayed to me about their interest in trying to do these things. But speaking for me personally, I have a hard time accepting the idea of deficit spending this late in the year. I think that it might be, in my opinion, would be wise to ask our superintendent and our administration and our teaching staff to take an extended look at this situation, looking at it from if not a K-12 or pre-K-12 situation, at least from a 6-12 situation. And perhaps come back with recommendations that we could then incorporate into our budgeting process at the appropriate time next year. But again, not precluding anything that we can possibly imagine to do to support these students in the meantime. I would expect that. I would expect no less. We don't, whether we have this academy approved or not, those efforts should be going forward. If they're not, we are failing at our major mission. So my personal status is that I would like to wait a year, investigate, study, look back at the history, try and determine whether or not the changes in the middle school over the years have had an impact on that transition from middle school to high school. If there are any other options, and then I would like to incorporate whatever recommendations would be brought forward into our budgeting process next year, which may require reallocation of resources, as you suggest, Mr. Wolf. Next year is a legislative education budget year. They may or they may not continue the small step forward that we made the last time around. I don't know. I just know that I do not want to be put in a position of having to cut effective programs because we had overextended in terms of deficit spending. That was an experience we were forced into in the past. I do not want to see it again. Any further comments, questions?
Here.
Sir?
Yeah, I agree with Chad. Like I said, I agree with him. Now on the whole thing that's gonna start is that on this chart, at least the goal, I should say there should be zeros on this. Like, no one should be failing. And what we do, we have to get down to the teacher level, like why are these certain students failing?
You know, Mr. Olson, I believe in setting realistic goals.
What? Right.
You know, kind of like No Child Left Behind, zero.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just not realistic in today's society to think that every kid who's 16, 17, or 18 is going to attend school like we want them to. But I believe there's no reason it can't be in the mid-single digits, you know what I mean, type of thing. I think that's kind of a plus or minus.
Try to get closer to zero than 30%.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then also with Jerry's comment, wait a year, well, we should, first day of school in September, start something, do something with the tests or with these students. when I say wait a year, like we're not gonna be talking about it or whatever, but we should start actually tomorrow maybe.
Mr. Chair, I just, whoever put this academy principal duties list together, thank you for that. That's one thing we asked for. And I appreciated the fact of, that was included in the packet and we could take a look at it and have a chance to analyze. I see a lot of management kinds of things, but I don't see the direct service that's needed for the kids that are having problems. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for putting that together. It gave me a good sense of what that person would do. I still believe that there'd be administrative creep.
It would be, and I don't know that if we have to treat this as a separate item, perhaps we do, but it would certainly be implied that whether or not this motion passes, it's going to be an ongoing effort of examining our procedures, our programs, our support services, and so on to minimize failure and maximize achievement. So that I would be expecting a report from Mr. Sesker next year in terms of our efforts in this regard, whether or not the Academy is approved tonight. Getting ongoing information because, like I say, this issue of student too many failures is not a new one. It hasn't been highlighted here in the recent weeks, but it is not a new situation. I recognize I believe it's the 28% number, but that can be varied by relatively few individuals, and it can be by the nature of a class. Having been a teacher for a long time, there's a certain nature to any particular graduating class. And so the class of, if I can do the math, 2019 may or may not be one of those classes that is been, a high achieving class. Certainly high achieving individuals trying to look at averages and so on. So, unless I see any other comments or questions, I believe we have a motion and a second to approve the 8th grade pre-academy and 9th grade academy proposal as presented in our literature and at several previous meetings. Sir.
Mr. Chair, I don't remember saying it in my motion that the funding come out of OPEB, and I don't believe that this presentation exactly specifies where it's coming from. So I don't know how to clarify that. I don't know if that, should it pass or fail? Should it fail, it's a dead issue. Should it pass, I don't know if we do a follow-on, of where that funding comes from, but I just want to make sure people are clear on that and in the logistics of it.
Your motion does not address the funding of it.
Yeah, at the time when I made the motion, it did not state that, and I don't believe that this presentation states it either, exactly where those funds would come from.
Is that something that you would like to see? If I'm reading your comments correctly, so that we would be using OPEB monies rather than
I would approve of that, and the simple reason is, Colleen, you can help me out, what are we at, 2.5-ish million? I think our long-term goal is 7-ish million. Yes, Mr. Olson is correct, last year we put 500,000 into it. When the when the levy failed several years ago, to prevent several cuts, there was money taken out. To say it's a revolving savings account or a line of credit, I mean, yes, there are precedents where you've gone in, you put money in, and there are precedents where you've taken money out to preserve things. So I would be in favor of that because I don't believe that would then affect any staff immediately type of thing. And then you can call it deficit spending out of that account, you can call it whatever you want. It is what it is. Should this pass, we will be adding costs. The only difference is we could take the funds out of OPEB versus general fund.
for 1 year?
For 1 year, yes, for 1 year.
And Mr. clerk,
This,
is he
okay,
making a
this,
friendly amendment to the original
no,
motion?
but in the documentation, it says it comes out of the general fund. That 178,000.
It would,
Can you
just
give
to
me a page
clarify,
number, Mr.?
Page number 198.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you-
Total estimated budget to general fund, so it does not mention OPEB fund.
if you want really clarification for it, it has to come out of the general fund. The OPEB fund would be used to pay the severances. So you would choose to, it'd probably be better to do a separate motion or do it later at a finance committee or another board meeting to determine whether or not you want to use the OPEB funds for the retirements. And the money you save from that would free up the general fund dollars. So it really technically does come from the general fund. So it's right what they have in here, we could make it I would advise doing a second motion, just to make it clear. Or wait till the next month to decide where those finances go.
I apologize for the complication.
All right. Any further questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I guess I
Yes,
want to make a few comments. I've been waiting in large part because I'm struggling with what to say, which is not normal for me, I guess. I have such I really came to this meeting not sure how I wanted to vote on this item. In 8 years, I'm not sure I've ever been so conflicted over an item of this importance. Sometimes I didn't know for items that weren't very important, but for something of this significance, I don't think so. So I've been waiting for the thing that's going to galvanize and how I feel about this. And so far tonight, I'm still not sure I have that. So I think all I want to say in my comments is how much respect I have for the folks at this table, and my belief that everyone on this vote is acting out of what they think is the best interest for our kids. And I can sense disagreement at this table, and it's a conflict I'm feeling in myself even at this moment, and I'm struggling with that. It's not something that I've experienced. I think regardless of how this vote goes, there is no disagreement on the importance of addressing this issue. And I think there's no disagreement that will mean, to my mind, significant resources. One thing I don't want to see if this fails is for us to say something like, we expect to see people looking at this. That really is just asking us to do what we've done before. It is, I think, naive to think that our teachers and our staff have not been working diligently to address this problem for the last 5 years. I know that they have. I've seen them doing it. I've heard them talking about it. It is not a new issue. It's not a new issue to me. We've had proposals to this board before in my time on this board about ways to address failing grades at the high school level. The pyramid of intervention was one that's happened in my time that we looked at. It is not the first time that we've seen these numbers. It's not the first time that we have tried to address these numbers. It is critically important, and I agree with everyone on there. I'm not going to argue strongly one way or another because I am so torn. I don't feel comfortable doing so. But I know whichever way this goes, I hope we can each understand and respect the differences of opinion that have been expressed tonight, and know that they are all coming from the same and important place, which is we're trying to do what's right and best with the resources we have, and I hope we stay committed to that regardless of the direction this vote takes. I guess that's where I'll end.
Thank you, sir.
I'm like having this internal tug of war in my head because I can see both sides, and I'm really struggling with which way. I thought I was coming in here a firm yes moving forward, but I do struggle with adding another administrator and whether or not we can do it without having an administrator. But I also struggle with, we made a big building proposal go through, and we did everything we needed to get that to go through. We deferred curriculum, we deferred building money, and this impacts our kids so much more than those buildings will. And so I feel like we made that work. How can we not make this work? but I don't wanna make it work at the demise of it maybe not making it next year or the following years. So yeah, I'm just really struggling with this one now.
One of my concerns, whether it's real or just in my mind, is that should we make a commitment to any program, I don't want to see it with a timeline at the end. We are making a commitment because we believe that this program or that program is vital to the success. And if we are going to try to attract teachers and or administrators to make this program work, giving them just a one-year lease is not the kind of thing that I think would create an effective team, nor maybe attract the most talented applicants. So that is part of my thinking in looking at this, and somewhat reluctantly, asking the district to wait on this particular aspect of our programming and investigate all the possibilities so that we can make the best choice for our students with a structure that we feel confident that we can sustain.
Mr. Chair, does it make any sense to have Mr. Benty and Mrs. Carnudo add anything? Maybe they don't want to add anything. I don't know. Maybe everything's been said or not. But they're the ones who worked on it. Mr. Myhock's not here. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. They're both sitting in the audience. They've both worked very hard on it. They'll know far more about it than any one of us will know about it.
Having heard the variety of board discussion here tonight, if there is anything that they would choose to say, I would be certainly open to hearing their perspective. Like I say, this is for me a difficult choice because obviously we want to do everything we can for kids, but I want to do the best thing we can for kids with the resources that we have, and I don't want to find us in a cut position a year from now or 2 years from now. So I'll invite them to come up and speak should they wish to.
Mr. Chair, before they do, come on, Jimmy. I'm puzzled and disturbed a little bit by the word of delay this. We can't delay it or postpone it for next year. Keep coming back to the point of our administration knows the issue, better darn well be addressing it immediately. And we're not delaying the action that needs to be done to work with kids that are failing. So I'm really puzzled by the word when we say delay or postpone. We're not. I think one of the issues that I have is how it's going to be staffed. I have a real concern about how the direct service to the kids is going to take place when it deals. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Everybody talks about it. And Jason, I totally agree that the respect that this board has in addressing this issue has also been one of the most challenging that I've been on 8 years on the board. The services have to get directly to the kids. That's the challenge and that's the struggle I'm having. So I think we need to be very clear that this is not a delay. It's let's take a look at it and deal with it now. How we're going to staff it probably is what we need to deal with.
Mr. Robichaud, I'll just one follow on. I was unaware of this issue prior to several months ago.
Right.
Richard has made the comment that he was unaware of it. Mr. Casper and Mr. Engbrecht, both of them said this is not a new issue. They've been on the board longer than I have. This has been aware. There's no fingers to be pointed here, but obviously what we are doing is not working. If you don't have a very, very focused approach, tell me how it changes. I don't know how it does. And I agree, the dialogue's been great. It's one of those decisions. It's gonna go this way or it's gonna go that way. At the end of the day, we're all gonna pull up our big boy pants and our big girl pants and we move on. It is what it is, you know, but it's a tough decision and it is what it is, so.
So I will say this is new territory for me here. So if I'm straying away from what I'm supposed to be talking about, or if you have questions, please. This
Your
is something
contract's been
that's-
approved.
I thank you for that again. This is something that is a passion of mine. I worked on this before I got to Faribault, and whether it passes or not, I will continue to work on this because this is something that I know will not get better. It doesn't magically go away. My role and my new role stepping in as principal is first and foremost to create successful citizens. We've talked about POI. We've talked about what would the role of this administrator be. Programs like POI, other programs that we've implemented, they are great programs, and they were implemented for a time period and what they were focused for. But right now, a program like POI is like trying to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. And what we're struggling with now is we've got a patient that's bleeding out and we need immediate assistance with it, and we're still trying to use Band-Aids and use Band-Aids that we're grabbing from here and there to fix this. What this person would do, especially it sounds like the majority of the concern is around the administrator, is they would come in, they would learn the program that I've done all the research on, they would train the staff, they would work with the students, they would work with the curriculum, they would work with all of those areas to make sure that the program was working at its peak efficiency. They would be following, week by week, quarter by quarter, what the results look like and tweaking it as we go through to make sure that we're getting the results that we should be getting and that we want to be getting.
And that can't be done without an administrator? Is that?
At this point, no. I mean, when I look at it, we're the only school besides Red Wing and the Big Nine with one assistant principal, and Red Wing is considerably smaller than us. So it's really a struggle. And as our demographics and population changes and our free and reduced lunch numbers go up, we're seeing more and more needs across our district and especially at our high school setting.
Just to reiterate, what we need is we need somebody to come in and train our staff and then to be able to evaluate them to make changes. And under our contract, I think got negotiated in this last school year, is that only an administrator is allowed to evaluate. And because of that reason, we cannot use a coordinator, we cannot use somebody else to do this. Now, when you talk about direct service to kids, we're expecting our teaching staff plus that principal to provide service to kids. They can't just sit on the sidelines. They have to be interactive with our students so that they feel welcome, they feel, and they feel the will and the need to come to school and to do the best that they can. So we're viewing it different, we are viewing it as a different type of administrator. We're looking for somebody pretty special to come in and take care of it.
I thought that's the role of the teachers.
It is, the evaluation part and
But
the
it's
training
just
part.
that you wanna welcome your students.
Yes.
You wanna come to class because that is a great teacher.
Well, that is true. Our teaching staff does do that already, but the
Then why
bottom
would you
line.
need a coordinator to?
Because students need to, because we're transitioning students from 8th to 9th grade, so we want a familiar person to go from 8th to 9th grade with our kids. And our teaching staff does not travel from 8th to 9th grade. We want that connector. We want that adult relationship, type of connection.
Then we should have two principals. Because
No,
then
because
that
we
follows
wanted-
and then they reverse back. I mean,
But it's a familiar person, then it follows them, and familiarity is a big reason why some of these kids aren't finding a connection. I think if you look at the kids who go from 5th grade to 6th grade, there's a disconnect as well, because they're trying to find socially and make those connections with teachers and administrators there, that there is a decline. So if this person is working with 8th graders and 9th graders, those 8th graders are already gonna have that familiar face, and that administrator's gonna know them. So there's gonna be that familiarity when they get to 9th grade to hopefully help offset some of those changes happening at the high school level.
and this could open the door for more administrators at the elementary going from 5 to 6. This could.
Well, it can open the doors to lots of things we can't foresee.
Then how is that perceived out there? Basically hiring more principals, administrators.
Well, I think if it's bringing down our failure rate, and we have tangible results. And this is the one thing that may show, or is going to either show results or not.
I don't know if this
That
will.
might be it.
I don't know if this will.
Well, none of us know if
Get
it
rid
will.
of that person and call for the question, but I probably shouldn't.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. All right, well, I believe all board members have had an opportunity to speak, and I'll give you one more opportunity to speak should you have anything else to add. But I think the time to decide tonight is near. Any further comments? No, I'd like to, sorry, am I cutting things off? Well, I'd like to just reiterate my agreement with Mr. Embrick's comments is that members of this board have demonstrated time and time again their commitment to quality education here in this district. This is a question that is been a struggle for all of us, I believe, but we need to make a decision now. If this is to go forward, they need to start immediately. If it is going to, and Mr. Robichaud, I don't mean delay in effort at addressing this problem, just perhaps delaying implementing this particular proposal to sometime in the future after a study of all the possible alternatives and causes. So, with that, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, would you read the roll?
Tom,
No.
Jason,
Aye.
Yvette,
No.
myself, no. Jerry,
No.
Andrea,
Aye.
Chad.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, it fails 3-4.
Mr. Chair, I just want to emphasize that I can guarantee you that we will be working on this topic extremely hard from now until the beginning of fall. So we will be looking at other options for you.
I was counting on that. I'm counting on everyone working on it very hard every day until we get the problem solved.
You say, Mr. Sesker,
4-3.
you'd be working beyond, like, forever on this, right?
Yes, yeah.
I
just
mean,
wanna
you're
make
not, when school starts, you're not gonna stop.
No, no.
That's what I.
Correct.
That's what-
And we'll keep on bringing you proposals, and we'll keep on trying to
Okay.
come up.
Well, I would like to make a formal request, and I don't know that this has to be a motion, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we receive ongoing reports of efforts and what's being done and what's being talked about and what's being considered, so that when we come to budgeting for next year, that we can consider implementing some aspect of some new programming to directly address this very important issue. All right. Item 11A, other items of information from our esteemed student representative.
We got two of them here.
Two of them.
Oh, from our esteemed student representatives, excuse me.
Alright, I'll make this short since I've been here for a while. Last week we had our all-school awards assembly where we gave awards out to many different things in the school, from American Legion Awards to Rotary Club Music Theater Awards, Peer Tutor Awards, National Honor Society, Link Crew, Science Team, Math, Robotics Team, Student of the Month Awards, Yearbook Awards, Stops and Casts. We also presented cords for students who are going into the military or Air Force and whatnot next year, and the American Red Cross red cords. And then at the end, we also inducted our new student council for next year. Seniors have been busy practicing for graduation. We have a breakfast this Wednesday with students and staff and past teachers from elementary school. We'll also be having our full practice that day. That night, we have athletic and school awards assembly, which students will receive scholarships or their cords, or both. Sports are moving into postseason now. We have boys and girls golf had their big nine today, have sections somewhat next week. Baseball has sections at New Ulm on Thursday, along with softball in Mankato on Thursday. And this Friday, boys and girls track will be hosting Big Nine, which I'm very excited about, hoping it doesn't rain. Boys tennis also has sections this week, and also congratulations to robotics, as Mr. Brooks said earlier.
Thank you very much.
She had everything.
It's just nothing.
How many days left of school?
8.
Who's counting?
Yeah, not me.
All right. We have item B, school board members, and one specific with the CVS EC report, and I assume that's you, Mr. Rocha.
Yes, the Cannon Valley Special Ed Co-op is moving along very positively. We have had inquiries from a couple of other districts that would consider membership. Have the lease agreement set up with Laura Baker. So that will be the other facility in Northfield. In the process of getting staff lined up. We have the coordinators taken care of, so a lot of activity have taken place. And tomorrow night we'll be looking at the budget more closely for the cooperative, but it's moving along very, very positively. So the board should be commended for making that decision to enter into this relationship with Northfield, soon to be other districts in the area. I find it interesting, before they didn't want to join, but now all of a sudden they're eager to come and knock on our doors, so.
Wisdom
which is good,
wins
which is
out.
good. Yeah, so.
All right, thank you, sir. Other board members?
This evening, before coming to this board meeting, I went to a peace night hosted by an organization that this board approved last year called Unity, an organization to celebrate, provide an opportunity for students from all backgrounds in this district to celebrate their heritage. They held an event at the community center, just a little ways away from here, this evening with a wide variety of foods, and also shared some of their stories of their first experiences in Faribault. It was both heartbreaking at times and uplifting all at the same time to hear them share some of their stories. They are an amazing group of articulate kids, which I knew because a good number of them are on my robotics team. But it also affirmed to me that Sam Oak is one of the best hires this district has ever made, and I'm thrilled with the work he's doing there and many, many other places. We're very lucky to have him.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe we have the second best hire. I'd like to commend the principal at Jefferson, Jennifer Molitor, and the staff at Jefferson for coming out on the welcome tonight for new students. They were all out and they were really welcoming to students that had to make changes with the boundary issues, and it was really great to see them encouraging the new students. So it was a great event.
Absolutely. Well, there are a lot of very good things happening in our district. And our thanks to all those people who make those things possible. All right, Mr. Superintendent, I believe it's your turn.
It's a busy time of year. Well, first of all, I had my first Somali lunch. I had it with Anne-Marie Leland and Barry, and Anne-Marie and Barry, husband and wife team. And then Nicole was with too, and we went out to lunch at one of the Somali restaurants downtown, and it was actually very, very good. So, and they had all at the meeting, were you at the tapestry meeting when they had the lunch, and they brought some of that and catered it into. It's good to get that culture, and it's very interesting. Continue to meet with social workers and counselors and principals to talk about our child neglect and truancy procedures that we have in place. We have been working on this all year. Our social workers, I just can't say enough good things about them. They've been working very, very hard to put something together, and we had a meeting this morning with the principals and the social workers. We need to do a better job of streamlining excused and unexcused absences and tardies, and then developing a case, if you will, for the county if we are going to go to the county to file a child neglect or education neglect or truancy charge for that particular student. And the county's been very cooperative. We've been working with our Assistant County Attorney, Jennifer Nelson. We have a meeting set up with her again to finalize these procedures for our school that would help clarify that. And it's really been a good relationship. And the idea, hopefully, we'll get a judge involved in this whole process and streamline the whole system. So, like I said, they've been working really hard at this. Customer service training we offered our staff, a lot of our secretaries and paras, and I went to that too. It was very well attended. Thanks, Colleen, for setting that up. It was a very good training up at top floor of Bernie's. We're on FCTV. It was Kevin and I, and Colleen, were you on that one? I don't think so. It was just Kevin and I that was on the FCTV to talk a little bit about our facilities and what we've been doing. Meals on Wheels, I've run around with that a little bit. At the Tapestry, the Latino Outreach Project, I was with Yvette too at the Trailer Court to talk about some of those options. We had a Big 9 Executive Committee meeting last Wednesday and honored Mr. Turtle and others that were retiring this year. We had our FEA retirement party. That was they're all running together now. Last week, and we again had some really great staff that have retired over 300 years of experience that are going to be leaving us, and hopefully they'll come back in a substitute or other position depending on how things fill out. I went to my own Masso Region 1 training down in Rochester. Been giving tours to, I think I've got most everybody. If you haven't had a tour yet, I know, please do so. It's kind of fun to go through that and to take a look at the FEC and the DO. It's a good feeling that the progress of those buildings are going very well. And then the welcome night, as Yvette had mentioned, the other two schools had a welcome night as well. Roosevelt and Lincoln did a good job with the families, the new families coming to the school as a result of the boundary changes too. So it's been busy, and we have a busy couple weeks coming up. Graduation is June 12th. Try to be there a little bit before that, half an hour or so before that, so you can get ready to go. So congratulations to all those seniors ahead of time. Good job. And that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Some dates to remember. June 2nd, 3 p.m., Facility Committee meeting at the district office. June 3rd, seniors, last day of school. We don't still have skip day, do we? That was back
It's not even mentioned.
prehistoric.
It's a public meeting.
All right, never mind, I'm sorry I brought it up. June 12th, 2 p.m. graduation at Faribault High School. June 13th, 5:30 p.m. work session at the district office for the board and interested members of the public. June 20th, 7:30 a.m. finance meeting at the district office. And I made a note, am I going to get this right? The curriculum advisory meeting is now June 27th at 3:30 p.m. at the district office. And the regular board meeting was also Monday, June 27th at 5:30 p.m. right here at the City Hall. I'd like to thank the board members and the administration and the staff that have contributed so mightily to our district and to our discussion and decision-making tonight. Sir?
When are we gonna be meeting at our new district office? Say district, is it the old district?
Just in case that's not ready, we have this reserved, so.
Then like we have finance, where's that? Because when is district office not gonna be functional?
June 30th is the last day that we have to be out of there, but we'll be removing some of the furniture. So I think the best thing to do is just to stay tuned.
Check your.
Yep.
Oh, so you're gonna,
Yep.
Stay tuned.
the old place or the new place, right?
Right,
Yep.
just check your agenda for
Yep,
location.
we promise we'll communicate that to you once again. The idea is though that July will be our first official meeting in the new July.
All right, well, thank you all. We are adjourned.
Oh, no.